And for more on the continuing conflict in the Middle East, I'm joined by James Gelvin, and he is the author of several books on the region, including Israel Palestine Conflict, 100 Years of War and the Arab Uprising, What Everyone Needs to Know. He's also a history professor at UCLA. Mr. Gelvin, welcome to our broadcast.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us, what do you think will come out of this meeting on Monday by the Arab League?
Nothing. The same thing that's going to come out of the UN General Assembly, Security Council resolution today, that the two sides are going to end the fighting when the two sides decide to end the fighting. Now, there might be mediation taking place, but it won't be the United Nations, and it certainly will not be the United States.
I was really struck by the fact that people in northern Gaza are being told to leave that area for their safety. What kind of situation do you think this is going to create?
Well, one of the scenarios is for the Israelis to actually move into Gaza, into the northern part of Gaza, and to clean it out, to clean out the rocket launchers, to take care of what Hamas assets there might be there, et cetera. So I think that that's something that the Israelis have on the table. I think the other thing, of course, is they want to keep all their options open, and they want to let the Hamas know that basically there is really nothing that is off the table at the present time. That Hamas presently might expect a ground invasion, might expect more airstrikes, but the Israelis aren't finished yet, and they want to demonstrate that.
Is there anything the West can do at this point by stepping in and putting pressure on Israel or Hamas?
No. This logic, the conflict has a logic of its own. The Israelis will stop when they choose to stop. The Hamas will stop when it chooses to stop. There will be another ceasefire. There was one in 2007. There was one in 2009. There was one in 2012. There will be another one, very likely to be the same sort of ceasefire, which would be a status quo ante.
Do you think the conditions were ripe for another uprising between the two sides, or do you think the killing of the 3 Israeli teens and then the beating of the Palestinian teen, do you think this was actually what sparked all of the tension to rise again?
Well, there is no doubt that it was triggered by those events. Whether or not there's going to be a third intifada, as people are saying, I am skeptical, but it is possible. I mean, who would have thought that the entire Arab world would just go out in revolt after a Tunisian fruit vendor immolated himself?
Mm-hmm. Does this make you even more skeptical about a compromise between the two?
Well, it depends on what you mean by a compromise. Some sort of peace that would take place between Israel and Hamas, for example? No. Between Israel and the Palestinians? No, that's not going to happen. That's not in the cards. A ceasefire probably is in the cards, and a ceasefire will probably hold as long as other incidents don't take place.
I think it was referring more to, the separate state issue.
That's off the table at the present time. I mean, the Palestinians have gone as far as they can go through the United Nations in terms of recognition, and the Israelis have walked away from the bargaining table. So at this point, there is nothing going on in terms of diplomacy.
All righty. James Gelvin, thank you so much for your time and your insight for joining our broadcast.